List of works by Bruce Goff. Chronological list of houses, commercial buildings, and other works by Bruce Goff. 1910s-1940s, 40s. 1917, Percy and Evaline Elliott House, 312 E 19th Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1918, Quaker Avenue House, 1401 S. Quaker Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1919, Carson Avenue House, 1639 S. Carson Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1919, Oil Operator House, 1728 S. Madison Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1919, South Yorktown Avenue House, 1732 S. Yorktown Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1921, East 19th Street House, 320 E 19th Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1922, G. Way House, northeast corner of E 31st Street and S. Peoria Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma. The house was significantly altered in 1983, leaving little of the original design intact. 1923, Ada Robinson Studio, 1119 S. Owasso Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1926, Boston Avenue Methodist Church, 1301 South Boston Ave. 1925, South Madison Avenue House, 1712 S. Madison Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1925, Consolidated Cutstone Office Building, 1323 East 5th Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1925, Hanson House, 2262 S. Troost Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1926, Day Building, 512 S. Boston Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1927, Tulsa Club, 115 E 5th St. Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1927, Page Warehouse, 1301 South Elgin Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, demolished in 1977. 1928, Guarantee Laundry, 2036 E 11th Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1928, Christ the King Church interior furniture, altars and mosaics, 1530 S. Rockford Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1929, Riverside Studio, 1381 Riverside Dr. Tulsa, Oklahoma, International Style, NRHB listed. 1929, Midwest Equitable Meter Company Warehouse, 3200 Charles Page Boulevard, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1930, Tulsa Convention Hall Brady Hall alterations, 105 West Brady Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1930, Latham House, 221 E 21st Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. 1938, Turzak House, Chicago, Illinois. 1939, Cole House, Park Ridge, Illinois. 1940, Cole Morgan House, Glenview, Illinois. 1940, Unset House, Park Ridge, Illinois. 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 1947, Batchman House, Chicago, Illinois. 1941, Bartman House, also known as Triero, Fern Creek, Kentucky. 1947, Ruth Van Sickle Ford House, Aurora, Illinois. 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 1947, Leadbeater House, 701 W. Brooks, Norman, Oklahoma, NRHB listed. 1948, Hopewell Baptist Church, 5801 NW 178 St. Edmund, Oklahoma, NRHB listed. 1949, Julius Cox House, 1300 and 1950s-1960s. 1950, Bevinger House, 730 60th Avenue NE, Norman, Oklahoma, NRHB listed severely damaged in 2011, demolished in 2016. 1950, Louis Wetzler Subdivision, Timberdell Road, Norman, Oklahoma. 1950, John Key's House, 911 W. Timberdell Road, Norman, Oklahoma. 1951, Maginnis House, 909 W. Timberdell Road, Norman, Oklahoma. 1952, Roger Corsaw House, 1210 Woodland Drive, Norman, Oklahoma. 1954, Garvey House, Urbana, Illinois, Illinois. 1955, John Frank House, 1300 Luker Lane, Sapulpa, Oklahoma, NRHB listed. 1956, Joe D. Price House and Studio, also known as Shinnecoin, Starview Farm, Bartlesville, Oklahoma, destroyed by arson in 1996. 1957, C.A. Cummer House, 1316 N Creek, Dewey, Oklahoma. 1957, J.O. and Mary Motzenbacher House, 2416 S.E. Circle Drive, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. 1957, Eddie Parker House, 7507 Baxtershire, Dallas, Texas, designed by Goff in 1957, but built by Parker without Goff after dispute in 1961. 1957, Donald Pollock House, 2400 and W 59th St. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, NRHB listed. 1957, Miller Brothers Service Station, Lynn Road, Pawhuska, Oklahoma. 1958, Durst House, Houston, Texas. 1958, L.A. Freeman House, 6565 Park Circle Drive, Joplin, Missouri. 1958, Gutman House, Gulfport, Mississippi, destroyed by fire. 1958, Harold Jones House, 3411 S.C. Wildwood Court, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. 1958, Robert White House, 1525 S.W. Whiteway Court, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. 1959, Russell Collins House, 3400 S.E. Wildwood Court, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. 1959, Richard Bennett House, 2841 Silver Lake Road, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. 1959, J.R. Ackright House alterations, 2412 S.E. Circle Drive, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. 1959, Redeemer Lutheran Church Education Building, 3700 S.E. Woodland Road, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. 1960, Grider House, Ocean Springs, Mississippi. 1961, James Fitchett House, 1900 S.E. Saturn Court, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. 1961, John Quincy Adams House, 108 Fairmont Road, Vinita, Oklahoma. 1962, Woodland Hills entrance feature, Woodland Hills Boulevard, Roland, Oklahoma. 1962, the first Celestine Barbie House, 114 Avenue N. Beaver, Oklahoma. 1963, Play Tower, Sooner Park, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. 1964, William Dace House, 409 Avenue R, Beaver, Oklahoma. 1965, Duncan House, Cobden, Illinois. 1965, Hyde House, Prairie Village, Kansas. 1965, Nicole House, Kansas City, Missouri. Missouri, 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 1965, Searing House, Prairie Village, Kansas. 1966, Jacquard House, Subolt, Kansas. Kansas. 1968, Mitchell House, Dodge City, Kansas. 1970s. 1970, Glen Harder House, Mountain Lake, Minnesota, destroyed by fire, 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 destroyed by fire, by fire, by 1972, Hollywood House, 18,165/18,171 Meandering Way, Flint, Texas. 1974, Plunkett House, 17,148 Fountain Circle, Flint, Texas. 1974, Barbie House, Tucson, Arizona, 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 and Arizona, Arizona, Axon, Arizona, 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 Arizona. 1975, Liberty Federal Savings Bank Mosaic Mural, 232 South Main. 1978, Pavilion for Japanese Art at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, Los Angeles, California. 1979, Struckus House, Woodland Hills, California. One of Goff's last completed designs before his death, Bart Prince supervised its completion. 1980, Jacob Harder House, Mountain Lake, Minnesota, 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 Minnesota.